But what I want to then dive into a little bit is about hormones specifically. And I'm not going to talk about specific conditions and issues, but we do have people in the group I know that have got thyroid issues. I actually listened to a podcast recently about thyroid and just how many people are taking like thyroxine to try and balance their thyroid hormone and all of those kind of things. And when I did a bit more research into that, I looked at a lot of the people that are specializing in that are basically teaching people to eat to stabilize their blood sugars, which is going to help with that. So, that was a little bell that kind of went off. Also, people with, we've got people in the group that have got challenges with polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, and who have had amazing success with eating PFC every 3. But the other one is about stress. And that's what I want to ask you about first. And really that kind of living in adrenaline and then the cortisol and then what does eating PFC every 3, like how does this affect our lives when we are living a high stress kind of life? Because I feel like right now, some people are living in stress and fear because everyone's really worried about the coronavirus, the COVID-19. But even before that, our life in 2020, and this is what I say as well when I'm talking to people, it's not the same as what it was 20 years ago. I mean, I look at where my mum had us, we lived out on a farm and we ate a lot of foods off of our farm. She didn't have to run anywhere. She didn't have to take us anywhere. Life was more simple. There wasn't the same level of stress. Now for me as a mum, if I fast forward and my 3 kids, what am I doing? Where am I going? Am I running late? Like my life is more stressful just because of the times we live in, the mobile phones, the internet, the this, that, the other. So how does this stress and the cortisol affect how we eat and with our sugar balance as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And if everyone wants to learn about mastering your hormones, and Craig Schultz, great to have you on. Type in the number 1 in the chat if you're excited to dive into some science about your hormones. Now, I'm going to share the story. And I think what you talked about, PCOS, all of these things reminds me back to the day of, for myself, it comes back down to Abby's challenges. Abby, the love of my life, my wife, we launched Venice. We're helping people eat PFC every 3. And then I love Sam, put in 1. Put in 1 if you want to learn more about the hormones. But what I started to see was that when Abby had an injury in 1999 and she started going down chronic pain, she started having all these autoimmune, IBS, chronic inflammation. Her body wasn't working for her like it used to. And it kind of took me, we talked about rabbit hole earlier, Keely, offline, it took me down a rabbit hole. And it really led to me creating the system I created when I wrote Body Confidence, the 3-step system. And I'm going to talk about, when we look at this, and I just want to share a little vision from here. Like when you think about this, the step is know your why. So I remember sitting with Abby, it was 1999. I walk out of her bedroom. She's crying on the couch. And she looks up at me and she rated herself a 2 out of 10 in health. She said, I'm never going to get better. She could barely walk. She was sleeping horribly. Her body wasn't working for her. She was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and she basically started giving up. And, we all have those moments in life where we lose it and we're frustrated and we don't have an answer. And I said, well, find a way. And what we did is we started defining why her health mattered. And then I focused on the 6 components. I focused on sleep, nutrition, water, stress, exercise, and supplements because those 6 things directly affect your hormones. And then we started focusing on how to take your health and make it a way of life. When we think about internal, and this is probably why dieting frustrates me so much because it doesn't solve. My life changed. I have the most amazing 15-year-old son. We have our baby girl, Hope, who turns 5 next week because my wife chose to fight for her health because she chose to do the work. And it's not that people, back to my mom, it's not that people don't want to do the work. They don't know what to do. So what I want to educate you about when we talk about hormones, I want to show you a chart. Now, I don't want you to get overwhelmed because it's a little scientifically. And I remember I used to show this in a chart when I work with a client, but this is how your body works. So internally, you have something called a set point, and it's in a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, and it works like a thermostat in a room. That if my room is set at 70 degrees, it turn on a cooling mechanism. We've got above 70 heat and we've got below. This is where it's called your weight regulating mechanism, and it's in your hypothalamus. But your hypothalamus also affects 3 main hormone chains, plus others, because it also affects your testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. But basically, thyroid, what ends up happening is your thyroid stimulates, your TRH goes to your pituitary, stimulates your thyroid, and your thyroid controls your metabolism. So this is your body's metabolism. Your stress, your cortisol. So the way your body works is every time you panic, if you're running late, if you're stressed, you have these little mini moments of bursts of stress. And it's these little microbursts. And every hormone has another hormone that counters it. So what ends up happening is your adrenal gland is releasing it. But the problem is that if you never have a moment of calmness, you go to chronic stress. Too much cortisol raises your blood sugar. So what ends up happening is this starts making you heavy on your blood sugar, and you start getting more belly fat. You start struggling to lose weight because you become chronic stress. Then we talk about growth hormone. And growth hormone is amazing. You know, when we talk about pituitary, growth hormone to the liver, and then this immediately helps balance your blood sugar, increase your metabolism. So when we talk about hormones, everything you do with your food matters. When your blood sugar is unstable, you increase your stress, you sleep less, your digestive system works less efficiently. When you spike your blood sugar, you cause a whole problem internally, causes your digestive system to panic, it makes your body into a store mode, and it affects your sleep and your stress. These are all variables. So it's not that blood sugar balance cures a slow thyroid, but blood sugar balance will immediately help all autoimmune challenges, because if you can choose the right foods to balance your blood sugar and optimize your digestion, you immediately reduce inflammation and you allow your body to work for you. That's the science of your body. This is not what intermittent fasting can teach you. This is not what ketogenic can teach you. There's 60 essential nutrients. Protein, fats, and carbs are your 3 macros that provide energy. Vitamins, minerals, and water are your micro. Why would you ever remove a food group? It doesn't make any sense. So if you start understanding your body, you become a way of life. It changes how you function. It changes how you look at things. And like Keely said, you can decide if you want to be bikini shape ready, you just got to do more work, hit the gym a little bit more, eat a little cleaner. If you don't care if you have a little bit, then that's okay. Because it's not about having a flat stomach. It's not about looking amazing in the mirror. It's about feeling your best and fueling your body optimally to optimize your digestion and master your hormones.